Hello, fellow risk takers, and welcome to my worst investment ever. Stories of loss to keep you winning. In our community, we know that to win in investing, you must take risk, but to win big, you've got to reduce it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on a mission to help 1 million people reduce risk in their lives. To reduce risk in your lives, go to myworstinvestmentever.com today and take the risk reduction assessment I've created from the lessons I've learned from all of my guests. It's time to start building wealth the easy way by reducing risk. Fellow risk takers, this is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz from A Stotz Academy, and I'm here with featured guests, Nattaphol Vimolchalao. Nattaphol, are you ready to rock?
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm happy to have you on the mission. Let me introduce you to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Nattaphol, or we're going to call him by his nickname, Golf, is the CEO of Siam Rajathanee Public Company Limited, sourcing business, personnel, and rental business. The company started as an agricultural business and later expanded to outsourcing services. Now it is the leading outsourced service company in Thailand. Nattaphol has a bachelor's degree in physics from the University of Manchester. He finished his master's degree in technology policy, micro, and nanotechnology enterprise from the University of Cambridge. Golf, take a minute and tell us about the value that you bring to the world.
Oh, um, that's hard. Like through our company, we just want to use our outsourcing capabilities so that our customers can focus on their core business, and all the support functions SO can help take care. So that's I'm projecting my values to the world through our company's work.
What kind of company or let's say individual, what kind of pain are they feeling that they would say they need your services?
Yeah, so something that distract them from their core business. For example, hospital. Hospital is set up to give the patients the best care they could, not trying to find valet services, not trying to find the administrators that's sitting on the desk telling the sick patients where to go and giving more information. We supply all that, and also payroll. So all those supporting functions that the core business, we try to get that out of your way so you can really spend 100% of your effort on what you actually set up the company to do, right? And just like that, hospital should be more focused on curing patients, not doing all the support functions.
That's so true. I know a lot of CEOs are so frustrated with having to deal with admin and all that stuff when they just constantly feel like I just want to get back to what we've been doing, what we started to do. So great service. And for those people that are in Thailand, I'll have links in the show notes to the service so that you can check it out. So now it's time to share your worst investment ever. And since no one goes into their worst investment thinking it will be, tell us about the circumstances leading up to it, and then tell us your story.
All right. So it's actually the experience I had before I joined SO. It was a polymer compounding company. We are looking at ways to create more value through our compound because we think polymer compounds are becoming a commodity. So we one of the things that we look at was medical devices. So when we want to look at medical devices, we want to set up a medical device trading firm first, so we can see the market before we actually build a factory to take our pellets, polymer compound pellets, and create it into a finished product, right? We invested around like 10 million baht into this ventures. I started since day one, designed the logo, think of the name, hired first employee, and I'm also the one that fired all the employee, and not they didn't do anything wrong, but then the company is not surviving. Cash flow was negative since it was started, never become positive until I was shutting the company down. So I have no one else to blame. It's just me 100%. But I was just really fresh out of university, and all my experience was, and I was an engineer at Procter & Gamble. I was their fast track before, and I thought I would be able to make it because I went to one of the best school in the world, doing one of the hardest subject in the world. I went to one of the best company in the world, known for doing manufacturing. It was a fast track. I thought I would never fail. But you know, being a CEO and a leader of company it's really different. And you need to keep your eye open. And the scary thing is sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and that's really on your blind spot, and it's really hard to know that. So and you know, looking back, right? Um, it is, even though I lost 10 million baht, right? And it's not even my money. It's that's what make it even worse. It's from the family office trying to set this up. This was really what making me a better leader through all these failures and reinventions, and try to rescuing it and try to find that this is what I don't know, and now it's causing the company to collapse, right? And I've learned a lot. One of the things I learned a lot is that, you know, managing a startup, mid-sized company, a listed company, a multinational company is really different. And someone who is successful at one doesn't mean that they will be successful at another, because it's literally like a different animal. The way you use your resources, the way you organize the organization is totally different. And that's one of the key learning I do know. And then, yeah, so I hired the person who I thought could lead this from a world-class medical device company. And she never worked in a smaller startup. She always worked at the big multinational medical device companies. And the way she goes about it is totally wrong from day one. A lot of costs involved, a lot of processes that could be done by one person, but instead of hiring 5, because, you know, that's how the setup was. When you're a really big company, you have one for each role, and one that's trying to do everything and keep the cost down and try to really understand product market fit. And yeah, so and I didn't keep track on the finance, right? It's a failure for a CEO to not know that you're burning like 300,000-400,000 baht per month, because your second in command that you hired to set up this company is hiring a lot of people, right? So I was busy visiting hospital, talking to doctors and telling them about the technical knowledge about the machines. And she was hiring all the back end stuff, which I agree to as well, right? But for the first 2, 3, and I asked her, you know, I took you from a really big company. I should trust you. So whatever you do, I trust. Just do it, right? And that's another failure I did. So many things, you know, maybe you're an experienced interviewer. Maybe you can squeeze more out of me and make it more structured. I'm just
one question is, you know, if someone looks at you right now, as well as looks at your background, your education, it's you know, the you're a successful person, you're a smart person. Can you remember the moment that you kind of knew that you had to close this thing, that it wasn't going to work?
Yeah,
Was there like a worst moment or a worst day?
it's really shit, actually. Like this, excuse my language. It was really bad. Before this, I always did really well, you know, through university, through my work at professional companies, you know, like, so I thought I expect success from this, right? And a lot of people expect me to do well as well from all the past successes. That's not relevant. And it was, I actually had to think, right? I can try and waste 2 more of my years trying to grow this company, right? Or I can go do something else. But I have to admit that I fail a company, and I have run company since its foundation to its closing down all on my own, and have that as a big wound in my like so-called like historical performance. But then, you know, after sitting down, I realized that I could be doing a lot more impactful things rather than doing medical device. Because after learning about the industry, it's not as great as people from the outside looked. And I don't think any medical device company is a good business, to be honest, for me, right? It's hard to scale. And a lot of the work is about how do you please a single doctor that is really demanding. So maybe, and they can, like medical doctors, you're not allowed to make an appointment. So you need to go there and wait for him. So sometimes in one day you can only meet one doctor. and it's a total waste of time. So with that in mind, I decided that I better shut this down and do something else.
Yeah.
But then I also learned that maybe something that looks great from outside, you see that, the cost of the medical device is X, but you sell it 4X. There's a reason for this 4X, right? It's the difficulty of dealing with the clients, which is
Yep.
the medical doctor.
Yep. Maybe I'll just summarize a couple of things I take away. I mean, the one thing you talked about was coming from big business, and it's almost always a recipe for disaster, because at big business, you just have so many resources at your hand. You need 5 new staff that are highly qualified. You just talk to their human resource department. You need to look at the financial statements and breakdowns of your division. You just talk to the finance guys. But when you're doing business on your own, you're doing everything. So that's kind of a great lesson for the listeners out there to think about. If you're setting up a business, be careful about inviting people who have experience in big business, because they may be shocked when they find out that there's not a lot of support. The second thing that I took away is that to be successful in business, brains are not enough. It's a combination of many things to get it right. The way you work with people, the products that you choose, the way you build out a sales team, so many things come together. And, brains and even experience, as we've talked about in big business, is not enough. It's all got to come together. And the third thing is, you mentioned about finance, and I think one of the things that I've seen is a lot of CEOs and a lot of business people, their finances are a mess. Their accounting and finance is just not delivering the financial statements and things that they need to really understand their business. And in many cases, they may not want it to be clear because it's scary what it shows. So those are some of the things I take away. Anything you would add to that?
Not really. I think it's spot on.
So let me ask you, what is your number one goal for the next 12 months?
Number one goal. So I want to scale our technology divisions to have a sizable income from our human resources fees. So that's my goal. I can tell you a little bit about SO, which is our ticker symbols for ours. So we have 10,000 staff working as an outsourcing employees for our customers in totally different field, right? And we start to develop our own technology stack to put inside that, so we can manage our staff more efficiently. And then our customers sees it and they want to use it too, right? So it gives me a really good idea that SO is basically a really big sandbox for a technological startup, right? A technological startup, you can really scale it quite a bit, because you don't have a lot of capex. You can just you don't need human to work on it. Once you post on a server, it can grow. So it's something that I want to start growing. But then when we first built that technology stack for ourselves, right, it's just for ourselves. The flexibility are not there. The load is not there. So we built everything in a monolith layer rather than microservices. So you have a lot of scalabilities, and when a certain module fails, you cannot split it, so you can fix the certain modules. So we're doing that right now. And it's quite hard to transform a company that's really good with the people, really efficient, into a tech company, and now the tech talent are really rare. So that's my goal for the next 12 months, to really scale our technology divisions and to make it a sizable income, which is sizable meaning more than double-digit contribution to our revenue.
Fantastic. It's interesting because you're talking about really developing software that you're using and then starting to apply it to your customers. That gets you a whole new level of feedback that allows you then to improve that software and then really, have something that can bring value to companies. So that's exciting.
And we start from within, to be honest. So we see this pain for us. When we created it, we know the return from us reducing that cost is already worth it in building software. So we never once in our cycle burn money to create a software and try to create a user base, right? So we already test product market fit with us because we have so many customers from different fields. And once they start using it, we see there's a fit there. And once you see there's a fit there, you can invest a lot in actually scaling it, right?
Yep. Exciting. Well, There you have it, listeners. Another story of loss to keep you winning. If you haven't yet taken the risk reduction assessment, I challenge you to go to myworstinvestmentever.com right now and start building wealth the easy way by reducing risk. As we conclude, Golf, I want to thank you again for coming on the show and joining our mission. On behalf of A Stotz Academy, I hereby award you alumni status for turning your worst investment ever into your best teaching moment. Do you have any parting words for the audience?
Just don't give up. Yes, that's really important because, like, to be honest, like my worst failure are the thing that really drive me forward now, and every single success I have now, it's that worst failure actually a big part of it that shape who I am today. So please just work on, and even in how big the failure seems to be at that moment, when you look back in 5 or 10 years time, it's really little. Yeah, it's reflecting back, you know.
Great words of advice. And that's a wrap on another great story to help us create, grow, and protect our wealth. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is about one guest, one story, one mission to help 1 million people reduce risk in their lives. Fellow risk takers, this is your worst podcast host, Andrew Stotz, saying, I'll see you
Right.
on
Thank you,
the
Andrew.
outside. Yep.